The judiciary. And I must say, as long as the judiciary is corrupt, we cannot deal with corruption. About me and my company, Benjo Amalgamated Limited, and I would like to state so that for clarity, people can understand where it's coming from. In 1989, I applied for a loan from KCB through my company, Benjo Amalgamated Limited, to start a floriculture business for growing flowers to export to Europe. The bank approved a loan of 23 million, and they asked me to put initial capital of 13 million to buy the farm, prepare the farm, irrigate it. And I did all that, and I grew 25 acres of flowers. But when the time came for export, which is the most expensive part of this project, we were in the middle of fighting for Section 2A, Mount Party, and I was on the side of fighting for Mount Party, and therefore the government was not very happy, and they stopped my loan. They had only disbursed 9 million out of 23. They stopped the loan, and they foreclosed it. They started demanding payment. I went to court and sued them for breach of contract through High Court case number 1219 of 1992. Before the case proceeded, the file got lost. I came to find out later through a worker from the lawyer who was representing the bank that bench was given 1 million shillings through Justice Quach, and the money was delivered at the Hilton Hotel, basement parking, and that's why they ruled like that. After that, my father, I had given the bank 2 securities, my farms, and my father had given a guarantee with his coffee farm. And he paid 6 million, the bank wrote him and said, we have received, now you owe 3 million. And my mother wrote back to the bank, asking them to state the final account. And to our surprise, 4 months later, the bank wrote and said the outstanding sum is 44.3 million. From 3 million to 44 million in a period of 4 months. And that's when I went to court to challenge that. And the matter went before Justice Lanaora, now a Supreme Court judge. And we argued, how can this? But Justice Lanaora said he cannot interfere. It's a letter, borrow a matter. And later, I learned through the same employee of the bank's lawyer that Justice Lanaora received 1 million shillings in a parking lot of some supermarket, which I can disclose in camera, and that's why he ruled like that. And after that, the bank got emboldened, and they sold, instead of selling my securities, the 2 farms that belonged to Benjo, which was enough to cover the loan, they sold Mwiri Coffee Estate, which was just a guarantor. Mwiri Coffee Estate is 450 acres under coffee, with 2 factories and buildings, over 100 head of cattle. It was valued, first value was 3.5 billion, but the bank sold it for 70 million to somebody called Kamresh Rahul of BD Limited. 70 million, that was equivalent to 10 acres. That's what they sold our farm, 450 acres. Justice Kaminwa ruled and said this is fraudulent, this sale is fraudulent, and she recommended that the police take over the case. The bank rushed to court, to the Court of Appeal, and made an application to dismiss Kaminwa's judgment, and it was heard by Justice Nabuye, Justice Makadia, Justice Kathurima Muinoti. They dismissed Kaminwa's ruling and reinstated the non-existent consent judgment, although they didn't see it. I have no evidence that money changed hands, but your guess is as good as mine. For a judge to say a judgment exists that does not exist. 5 judges, Newton Makadia, Kathurima Muinoti, Ore Kantai, Mativo, and Tuyot. They ruled that indeed that judgment is there. They used the word that this judgment is in all the records of this court. And I came to learn through the same friend of mine that they received a bribe of $2.5 million, which was paid in the firm of a prominent lawyer here in Nairobi. My witnesses are ready and willing to give evidence in camera if this is required. And that's why I went to the Judicial Service Commission and I made a petition that they call me, I give my evidence, then they call the judges to explain why or where this judgment is. I was surprised after about a year sitting on the petition, the Judicial Service Commission has written to me. They didn't call me to give evidence, but they have written to me and told me that the judges can use their judicial discretion, and that what they said is what is there. So I'm wondering, do they have discretion to tell a lie? If a judge says a judgment exists and it is a lie, in this country, nobody can point a finger at the other person and call them corrupt. The only Kenyan who is not corrupt is a person who has no opportunity to be corrupt, either to give or take. Otherwise, we are all corrupt.
There is a growing heat around Chief Justice Martha Koome, and this time, it is not just courtroom drama. It is a high-stake politics and scandal in the mix. Word on the political streets is that powerful forces linked to Kenyatta family are quietly demanding that Sh825M Koome steps down. The alleged trigger, a jaw-dropping Kenya shillings 825 million bribery scandal that is sending shockwaves through legal circles. While this exact figure is yet to be backed by official documents, the noise is getting louder and the timing is no coincidence. This comes barely months after former LCK boss Nelson Havi dropped a legal grenade. He accused Sh825M Koome and 3 Supreme Court judges of receiving a staggering Kenya shillings 4 billion bribe from none other than former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Add another Kenya shillings 300 million allegedly paid to influence a case involving capes, and the integrity of Kenya's top court is hanging by a thread. Inside whispers claim powerful elites are fed up, not just with Koome's leadership, but with the optics. They fear the judiciary's credibility is eroding fast, and with the 2027 elections already casting shadows, no one wants a tainted referee. But Koome isn't folding. She's vowed to stand firm, denying the accusation and insisting the judiciary is committed to cleaning house. Yet the calls for her resignation, especially from vocal lawyers and political operatives, are getting bolder and more public. Is this a true quest for accountability or a calculated takedown of a once favored CJ? And are we about to witness a rare fall from grace at the very top of Kenya's justice system? One thing is clear, this story isn't going away anytime soon. This is Sauti Mzalendo News, where power meets truth. Stay safe, stay engaged, and keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep believing in a better, stronger nation.